What is going on, everybody? Super Yankee for Life here once again, and welcome you all to my NFL picks, Week 1 of the 2013 NFL season. I gotta say about this year, I would definitely characterize this season as being the most. How am I trying to explain this? The line between good and bad teams is getting thinner and thinner every single year. Obviously, there's gonna be some bad teams. Like, I think the Jets are gonna be very bad. They might even get the first pick in next year's draft. Jacksonville, Kansas City, Oakland, teams like that. But I think teams like Cleveland, St. Louis, Miami, I think will all take steps forward into either contending for a playoff spot or hovering on the 500 record win-loss area. So if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, I think progress is going to be made this year. I really do think so. I think they were like 6-10 last year or something like that, or they may go 7-9, 8-8 or something like that. I don't know, but I think the line is getting smaller and smaller every year, and pretty soon I think every team is going to be capable of making the playoffs or contention of making the playoffs. So with that being said, also Tennessee being another team contending for a playoff spot this year. So with that being said, let's just get right into the picks. Starting off with the Thursday night game, Baltimore, the defending Super Bowl champions, traveling to Denver. To take on the Broncos. And by the way, the reason why Baltimore is traveling on Thursday night instead of hosting the game is because both the Orioles or the baseball team for Baltimore, it has a home game, and quite frankly, I don't know why. I don't know why they couldn't just allow Baltimore, the Ravens, to have their home game, on this Thursday night, because I feel like the fans definitely are getting cheated out of a celebration on a primetime stage. I honestly think so, and especially the team, the fans being, as I think Baltimore Ravens fans are probably one of the more loyal, dedicated fan bases in the National Football League, and the season did not get there. Now, obviously, they'll find some way to celebrate their Super Bowl title at their first home game, but still, I mean, on a primetime stage Thursday night, why not have Baltimore play at home? Why not have the Ravens play at home? I just don't understand. I feel like I had to get that off my chest. I have my own 2 cents on the matter. As far as the game itself, Baltimore lost a lot of guys. Offensively, defensively, lost Bolden, lost Ray Lewis to retirement, lost Elvis Dumervil. No, actually, they actually got Elvis Dumervil from Denver, I should say. My bad. Lost Ed Reed to Houston. They lost a lot of guys. As for Denver, lost Dumervil. They wound up getting wound up getting Wes Welker from the Patriots. So the receiving core with Peyton Manning is going to be even deeper. Von Miller is, I believe, suspended for the first 6 games for violating the substance abuse policy. So that's a big blow, because I think led NFL with like 18.5 sacks a year ago. As far I think who will win, I think Denver, because I think they will find a way to slow down Joe Flacco just enough. I think this is going to be a very back and forth type of game, 27-21 type score with Denver winning. I think they'll outscore Baltimore just enough. I think Manning will make the difference in the game. New England at Buffalo. New England's coming off kind of a tumultuous offseason, if you want to call it that. Not so much because of Rob Gronkowski, because he's suffering from multiple injuries, but Aaron Hernandez no longer part of the team, arrested for murder, stuff like that. losing Wes Welker. They do bring in Danny Amendola to, I guess, kind of replace Wes Welker's role being a slot receiver. Tim Tebow, no longer a Patriot, cut in preseason. So for Buffalo, they had Kevin Kolb as a starter. Now he's out for the rest of the year to the concussion. I feel kind of bad for Kevin Kolb. I'm probably the only guy who does, but I feel kind of bad for him. I mean, he gets his opportunities and just gets injured. I feel bad for the guy. So it looks like it's not E.J. Manuel who's gonna be starting for the Buffalo Bills. I'll have to look it up and see who's actually starting. He's probably like a third string guy who's gonna start for the Bills week 1, but it's not gonna really matter because I think the Patriots will win regardless. 28-13. I think Brady will do his thing. Stephen Ridley, I believe, is the starting running back for the Patriots. Expect him to be a very important part of the Patriots this year, as well as the defense, I should say. Remember the Patriots back in their dynasty years when they won like 3 Super Bowls in 5 years or something like that? The key strength, besides Tom Brady, was that defense, led by Teddy Bruschi, Willie McGinnis, Ty Law, Richard Seymour, guys like that. Those guys were the anchor of that team during their Super Bowl years in the early 2000s. So expect the defense to be very important this year for the lack of offensive firepower for Tom Brady. So they can have third string wide receivers out there, and Brady can still make them look good. It's against Buffalo, so they should handle Buffalo pretty easily. Next game, Cincinnati at Chicago. A very interesting game here. You have a Cincinnati team that's coming off a playoff loss to Houston. Chicago, I believe, did not make the playoffs a year ago. Cincinnati, I think, has a lot of potential to really overtake Baltimore, especially with all their losses in the offseason, to overtake Baltimore in the division. How their season dictates will dictate a lot on the offense led by Andy Dalton. I believe their defense is pretty solid, is pretty set and good to go. It's just going to depend on how good Andy Dalton is at quarterback. It's kind of a make-or-break year for him, man. He's got all the tools. He's got A.J. Green. He's got Jermaine Gresham. He's got an excellent running back in the backfield. And who is it? Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, I believe. Yeah, the Human Law Firm. I mean, he's got all the weapons at his disposal. He's gonna have to step his game up this year, and I believe he's definitely capable of doing it. As for Chicago, no Brian Urlacher for the first time in a decade and a half, which is going to be very weird to see him not suit up and play. Jay Cutler, kind of a make-or-break year, I believe, for him. You got Brandon Marshall there. Alshon Jeffrey, second-year wide receiver out of South Carolina, who I believe can do some special things, especially in the red zone. Matt Forte, I believe he's got to be more of a focal point in the offense. Not saying that he's the reason why they're struggling on offense, but because they need to get him the ball more. Running, receiving, any way you can get this man the ball, give it to him and let him do work. As for this game itself, it's going to be a very good game. I believe Cincinnati will win the game 21-17. I believe the game will be back and forth. Very, very smash-mouth, very hard-hitting game. It's going to be a good game to watch. Miami at Cleveland. Two teams who I think, excuse me, who I think are going to make very good strides this year. Miami, who I think will make a serious push for the Patriots in the AFC East. Although I think New England will win the division, but Miami's I think is going to really make a push for the division title, especially after signing Mike Wallace to a big contract in the offseason coming over from Pittsburgh. Cleveland, defensively getting better every year. Brandon Weeden, I should say, along with Trent Richardson, with their rookie years underneath their belts. I think they'll improve in their areas as well. This will be another good game, another very good game. I have Miami winning 23-17. Very smash mouth hitting type of game, where I see Miami pulling out the victory here over Cleveland. Excuse me. I'm gonna choke there. Minnesota at Detroit. Minnesota, Adrian Peterson coming off a near record-setting year, almost passing Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record. Detroit coming off a very disappointing year. Offensively, they were very good, but defensively, my God, they were so terrible. And they went out and they signed Reggie Bush. I mean, offensively they were already pretty good. Now they add Reggie Bush, which is obviously going to help. But I believe their help. I believe they were focusing on too much on the offensive side of the ball as opposed to defense. I mean, their front four with Sue and Fairley and Van den Bosch. I mean, that's fine. But I'm talking about the back end, the secondary. I'm not sure that they made any improvements to the secondary. But luckily, they're playing the Minnesota Vikings, who are not very much of a offensive-oriented or passing-oriented team, led by Christian Ponder and their receivers. And plus, they lost Percy Harvin. So, I mean, you lose one of your top offensive weapons to free agency to Seattle. So, I like the Lions in this game, 21-20. It's going to be a very close game. Maybe I'm selling the Lions score a little bit short here. Maybe they'll drop 121, I think. But I think that the Lions will walk away with the victory. Raiders at the Colts. I believe the Colts win 24-13. I don't expect much from Oakland other than maybe a top 5 pick in next year's draft. Andrew Luck only going to get better. I mean, it's rookie year. I mean, he kind of threw a little bit too many interceptions, but I mean, even for Andrew Luck, that's to be expected for a rookie. But he will definitely improve without question. Atlanta at New Orleans. I kind of went back and forth a little bit about this, but I think Atlanta's defense will hold up just a little bit more than New Orleans, and I think that'll make a difference. 31-28, Atlanta beats New Orleans in the Dome. Jets hosting the Buccaneers. I mean, the Jets are probably going to be the number 1 overall pick. They're probably going to take Jadeveon Clowney out of South Carolina in April. Tampa Bay, I mean, Darrelle Revis returning to the Jets, as the visiting team. Josh Freeman, man, I don't think, besides Mark Sanchez, I can't think of a quarterback that's regressed more over the last few years than Josh Freeman. And it's not because he all of a sudden just got terrible, can't throw a football. It's just that he's made poor decisions, poor decisions as a quarterback, and it sucks because I think he has some serious potential to be a very, very successful quarterback in the NFL. Their running game, obviously with Doug Martin, was their strength last year. Their defense was terrible a year ago, especially the secondary. So I expect both these things to improve this year, and I have the Buccaneers winning 21-10 over the Jets. Pittsburgh hosting Tennessee, I should say. Two teams will be battling for a wild card spot. Pittsburgh winning 23-17 because they have Ben Roethlisberger and Tennessee doesn't. So that's my reasoning behind that. Seattle at Carolina. Seattle, I think, has a serious shot of making the Super Bowl this year. With Russell Wilson as their quarterback, Marshawn Lynch, and they add Percy Harvin as a weapon for Russell Wilson as well as for punts and kick returning, which I think is a very important aspect of. I think Pete Carroll puts a lot of emphasis on special teams, but I'm not saying that no other coach does it, but I think Pete Carroll especially puts a lot of emphasis on special teams. So having Percy Harvin there is just going to only help. Seattle in that area. And as for Carolina, I mean, I kind of feel for Cam Newton because he's just it feels like he's a man surrounded by boys sometimes. He can only do so much. He's got to get some help. From his receivers, from the defense, everybody. And then having Jonathan Stewart, I believe, or is it D'Angelo Williams to be out for the first 4 games is not going to help either. So it's going to be a close game, but I have Seattle winning 23-20. Carolina will make it close. Kansas City, Jacksonville, these two teams won the top 5 pick next year's draft, let's just face it. Andy Reid making his coaching debut with the Chiefs, his Chiefs coaching debut. Longtime coach of the Eagles. Alex Smith will ultimately be the difference why the Chiefs will win this game. Plus if Jamal Charles is healthy, beast, easily a beast. So I'll go 21-13, Kansas City over Jacksonville. Green Bay at San Francisco. Green Bay, I think, will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I'm a little bit worried about their secondary, a little bit. I mean, offensively, they're easily top 5 because of Aaron Rodgers and the things he can do. But I think San Francisco is a little more balanced as of right now because of Colin Kaepernick and that defense, and they add Anquan Boldin, and it's really hard to compete with that. So I'll go San Francisco this game 24-20, but in the long run I think Green Bay will win the division and will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. Okay, the Sunday night game. Giants at the Cowboys, and why, for the love of God, is Dallas in prime time? I don't understand it. I don't know why NBC has such a fetish with there's no other way to describe it. They have a fetish for Dallas being in prime time. Even as a Cowboys fan, it irritates me. Just take them off of primetime TV. It's just, oh man. Oh, I don't understand. I really don't. Why they couldn't have New York and Philly? New York and Philly be in prime time instead of Dallas. Why? As far as the game itself, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants walk in there and win 27-21. I hope it doesn't happen, but of course, Dallas finds some way to screw something up. Late in games, especially with Tony Romo's performance in crunch time. Philadelphia at Washington, Monday Night Football. Washington 23-20 over Philly. I really do like what I see out of Washington with RG3 and Alfred Morris, and defensively they're going to get so much better. In my personal opinion, with Brian Orakpo, Ryan Kerrigan anchoring on defense. And then the late night Monday Night Football game, Houston at Houston at San Diego. I meant to say that. Houston at San Diego. Houston over San Diego 31-17. San Diego will probably have a top 5 pick in next year's draft. But those are my picks. Disagree if you want to or not. It doesn't really matter to me. Until next time, Super Yankee for Life signing off. Peace.